My name is Molatelo Mainetje-Bossman. I'm a filmmaker, a social entrepreneur, and one of the directors of Infertility Awareness Association of South Africa, IFAASA. When I found out that I can never fall pregnant naturally in 2006, I knew I had a mountain of a journey to climb on so many levels. First of all, as a young black girl growing up in a very conservative family and community, at the time when I found out about my infertility, there were already talks within the village about, because at the time I was the first girl to go to university in my village, and I was having a booming career. So the talk was around the successes that I had in my career and my inability to give birth. So it was very clear that I was, struggling to fall pregnant because all my sisters had children. So, and I am the firstborn in the family of six, 5 girls and 1 boy. So as a firstborn, I was expected to lead the pack and lead by example. So in 2006, when I found out that I can never fall pregnant naturally, I knew also that I had a responsibility on my shoulder. And one of those responsibilities was me as a filmmaker. It was a test. As a storyteller, I knew I had a responsibility to use the situation at my disposal to break the silence on infertility. Not only that, but also to give a voice and a face to the many women who have been affected by this condition. And I consciously say women because I represent those women. I'm one of those women who are affected by this condition. But I need to make it clear that, and I'm making this reference to women, not because infertility affects only women. It is public knowledge that men also are affected by infertility. But we do not want to talk about it. In most cases of infertility, the woman takes the blame when we know that infertility affects men as well. And where I come from, we also have situations where when the elders in a family find out that the man is a problem in an infertility case, they normally put then the man's brother to sleep with the wife. So they sweep it under the carpet as if the man is okay. Whereas if it's a woman who has an issue, what normally happens is that they will actually even go and marry the sister to the woman to come and bear children on her behalf. And that perpetuates this thinking and belief of saying infertility only affects women, because a woman would be publicly exposed, right? Whereas when it's a man, it's swept under the carpet. So, I knew I had a responsibility as a storyteller to break this silence, to sort of introduce the normality around talking about infertility openly with our families, openly with our spouses and partners, openly with our children, our girl and boy children. I'll tell you why. A few years earlier, before I found out about my infertility, I had ectopic pregnancy when I was still at university. And if you had asked me then what ectopic pregnancy was, I would not have told you. Because when it happened to me, it was for the first time I heard about it. And guess what? Sitting here today, I still believe that as a young girl growing up, if I was in a situation where someone else has shared their journey the same way I'm sharing my journey with you, I will not be sitting here today talking about Molatelo being infertile. I knew I had a responsibility to educate the young boys and girls, not only that this film talks to women who are struggling with infertility or couples who are struggling with infertility, but it is talking to the young ones to say, don't commit the same mistakes that I committed many years ago as a young girl, naive as I was. But then you have to also remember that there wasn't the luxury of Google and the internet wasn't publicly available for information so a person like myself can benefit from. I knew I had a responsibility to use my film to not only counsel, but to give out information out there about other various ways of conceiving, other ways of parenting, of motherhood. Because, you know, as a young girl, I had this dream of growing up to become this woman. I mean, I had a mother who effortlessly fell pregnant, not year in, year out, but you know what I mean. But she effortlessly gave birth, and I thought I would just be like her. So already I could see my life progressing to a point where I'm now a mother and a wife, just like my mother. But it wasn't like that for me. And when I found out about my infertility, it was a huge shock. For the best 2 years after that discovery, I went into a phase of depression, trying to understand, trying to realign this future that was playing before my eyes. And I was saying, hang on, girl, you wanted to go to school, you wanted to have a degree. I always knew that I would go to university, and I worked very hard for that, and I achieved that. And at the point, I had a car, I had a house. Oh, by the way, all these things are the things that I dreamt about as a young girl, because I so wanted success. But I also wanted to be a mother. I also wanted to be a wife. And now here I am. I cannot achieve this biggest. This is like now, hey girl, you are done with your, this future that you have painted for yourself. And now you are just almost there. If you can only be a mother. I tried and it didn't work. So I had to deal with my inner self, getting used to the idea that you can never this person that you wanted to be. Yes, you have achieved everything that you wanted, you said you wanted to be. But here's just one thing that you want so badly, just to complete this puzzle, and it is not happening. Then I knew that I had to face society. Apart from my personal inner struggles, I knew I had a society to face. And that was the biggest problem, the biggest challenge in the whole infertility journey. I knew the minute now, that news of Molatelo being infertile goes out there, I'm now going to be labeled names. We know those names. Bumopa. Right? I had a friend who says to me, they used to call her Gilberts. They would call her Gilberts because she could not give birth. And God willing, she later gave birth to twins. So, but who then said a woman should be a mother who gives birth naturally or, biologically be that mother. Who said so? Fast forward to 2021. I am a mother of 3. And I did not give birth to those children, but they are my children. And guess what? I wish many years ago I had come to this conclusion before I went through the pain that I went through, to try to be this mother, to try to be this woman that the society is expecting me to be. I wish I had an opportunity to explore adoption, which I didn't, because I was so fixated in I want to be this mother. I mean, at some point, if you watch my film, I say I just want to breastfeed my own child. I had that passion of wanting to breastfeed my own child, and that it was only a symbol. It wasn't the reality of what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to be accepted by society. I wanted to be endorsed by society to be this woman, because at the time Molatelo wasn't a woman. And hang on, I was wrong. I am sitting here in 2021, and guess what? I am a woman. If you want to argue, go argue with your ancestors. I am a woman. I have endorsed myself, and this talks to acceptance. Let me tell you about the meeting I had with my family many years ago, in the build-up to me going for the 3rd IVF cycle. I was saying to my parents, my family, I have decided to go into IVF. And obviously, organically, they asked me, what is IVF? Then I explained to them what IVF was all about. And all that was new information to them. To them, traditional healing was everything. But in my case, I knew that I had no fallopian tubes. The story about how I became infertile is carried in the film that is screening at this event. If you want to know more about how I became infertile and the journey that I went through over that period of 10 years, it's all documented there. But the most interesting thing that I want to highlight at the meeting that I had with my family is, there is no one size fits all treatment for everyone. In my case, I knew I didn't have fallopian tubes. But now, if you don't know what the cause of your infertility is, and like in the case of my family where they said, no, traditional healing is the way to go for you. And I asked them a question. If I don't have fallopian tubes, how is an egg and a sperm going to meet to fertilize into making a baby? Those are the conversations that we need to have, because you cannot just assume that because it worked for Mary, it will also work for Anna. It doesn't work like that. That is why it's important for any person who is struggling with infertility to go and seek medical assistance. And I'm not saying traditional healing doesn't aid. I'm not saying traditional healing doesn't work, but I'm just saying it cannot be a one-size-fits-all, because the causes of infertility vary. In my instance, I said to my family, I can drink all the concoctions. I can do everything that you want me to do. But how is the egg and the sperm going to meet if my fallopian tubes are not there? And these are the conversations that we need to have more often, not only with our counterparts that we struggle, we go this infertility journey with, but the young ones, the old ones, the men, the women, the older generations, they contribute to this labeling of women who are unable to give birth. At the end of the day, once we start normalizing conversations around infertility, we're then able to educate one another. We're then able to pass on information from one person to the next. What I'm saying is that let's normalize infertility conversations. Let's make it comfortable for one to relay their infertility stories to, each other, to one another, to the next person, right? So that way we're able to share information, we get to normalize the conversations around infertility, we get to, most importantly, break the silence on infertility.